Is going to introduce you to the process of cellular respiration. The process of cellular respiration is the one that converts sugar into ATP using oxygen. So we have to have that oxygen in order to produce the amount of ATP that the cell needs. Cellular respiration makes that ATP by breaking down sugars. The main sugar that we'll focus on is glucose. Cellular respiration is an exact mirror image of photosynthesis. And we'll kind of go into more detail about what that means in just a second here. Cellular respiration has three main parts. The first part is glycolysis. And glycolysis is going to convert glucose into a substance called pyruvate. You will also see pyruvate written as pyruvic acid. This happens in the cytosol of the cell, which is the same thing as the cytoplasm. At the end of glycolysis, we make a couple of ATP, but we make an electron carrier called NADH. You don't need to worry about what NADH stands for. It's a long word that we're never going to be required to know in this class. The second major step of cellular respiration is called the Krebs cycle, or it's the citric acid cycle or the TCA cycle. We do make some ATP there, but not a whole lot of ATP. We do make electron carriers called NADH and FADH2 that are then used in the third step called the electron transport chain, and you don't have to know that word, oxidative phosphorylation, but it is the electron transport chain. Those last two steps take place inside the mitochondria. The electron transport chain uses an enzyme called ATP synthase to make a whole bunch of ATP. So cellular respiration is a mirror image of photosynthesis because the equation for cellular respiration is exactly the equation for photosynthesis flipped around. It is 1 molecule of glucose, 6 molecules of oxygen, 6 molecules of carbon dioxide, and 6 molecules of water. And this arrow in the middle means yield. So we have glucose plus oxygen yields carbon dioxide plus water. You can think about this as what you breathe out. You breathe out carbon dioxide and water. If you were to put your face up to a piece of glass, you would see some condensation there. You breathe in oxygen and you eat molecules that are eventually made into glucose. The key concepts and main ideas of cellular respiration is that cellular respiration is an aerobic process. So think about when you do aerobic exercise, you use a lot of oxygen. That's a way you can remember what aerobic means. Aerobic means that it uses oxygen. Glycolysis is a needed precursor for cellular respiration to happen. And the Krebs cycle is the first part that we technically call cellular respiration. And then the second part of cellular respiration is the electron transport chain. The reason we separate these three steps and make glycolysis kind of its own precursor is because glycolysis can actually make results that go into not cellular respiration. So we really consider the two things that happen in the mitochondria the main steps of cellular respiration. Cellular respiration is, again, the process that releases energy from sugar to make ATP, but only when oxygen is present. There's another process we'll go over in a few days about what happens when we don't have oxygen. The organisms that use respiration are anything that have a mitochondria. Typically, it's done by any animal. And the structure of the mitochondria is listed over to the right there. And this will be something that you need to be able to label. So you have the little folds in the mitochondria that are called cristae. You have the matrix that kind of looks like the water from a swimming pool. That's in the middle of the mitochondria. Then you have an outer membrane and an inner membrane. So an analogy that someone gave me before was that you can kind of look at it, it looks a little bit like a lazy river. The bends in the lazy river are the cristae. The water is the matrix. The outer membrane is the edge of the pool side where you sit in your lounge chairs, and the inner membrane is the wall of the pool. Alright, so we'll pick back up in the next video with going into detail on glycolysis, the Krebs cycle, and the electron transport chain.